Hey, Dimitri. Hey, everybody, welcome back as well. So, Dimitri, I'm taking a look at the Red Light District Promenade. So, some good stuff here. I just put in a quick reminder. I didn't change the assets. We can leave it for now, but we should come back to the plane number that we're using. Always when we're considering kind of what the scenes look like in relationship to the manual parallax layers. So I kind of put a little screenshot back in here. I'll show you. And it's just when we're thinking about the space of how things are, and we're just prototyping here, right? So it's not a big deal. Yeah. So there's a couple things going on here, but still, I think the main thing here is that if you take a look at our layers, so we have basically 6 environmental background layers. So, and that's the when you want to align things, it always helps if we're constructing the scene to just tag the assets with that. The other thing is we should be careful with really, really short names. So I appreciate you checking them into the engine. So thank you for that. But they're going to be harder to search for to some degree, right? So because at some point we'll lose the scene mapping in our minds when we're trying to do the work. Okay, but first, I'm going to take a look at this thing. So I got to spend some time with it. I think the thing that I'm trying to think through the most is we're going to have this change in parallax, right? Compared to the city. And we have this scenario where enemies that need to be in the play field, just like we've discovered in the city section after this. So I could see this being, right? I could see this being like, we've got like enemies here. Woo, I'm an enemy. Yeah. So we could have these entrances on these platforms, which feels pretty good. I think I really like that. So, but when we have that, we really don't have a way to, in a good way in the engine, to make the enemies follow along with the parallax, the manual parallax. And if we do, what happens at that point is then we get in this whole mess where if we add any scale to an enemy, it's going to change the enemy's bullets and a bunch of other things. We played with that a little bit with the distance for the materializer tanks. Still, I'm thinking about that. Not entirely sure, but it's definitely not a great practice for us. Also, you'll see here that I decided to just build this thing out in terms of verticality. So, this is just us looking at the things, of course. But I thought we have this really cool shot that's starting to happen here where, we're building this city. We really want to show the enormity of this being one giant mega skyscraper block. Like this is like an entire city deck maybe. And so I thought I would take the opportunity to just build it out like this. And I'm liking the way this feels. Love to hear how you feel about it. Wasn't quite what we envisioned. But I think we're getting there. I'm also managed to keep the when the camera pulls back to get that zoom shot. I've got the ability to still keep us moving forward, because if we go too much in the Z distance, it doesn't feel like you're moving as much. So, and I can see each one of these platforms being ways that enemies are coming in. So we can have our chicken walkers, of course. We've got a couple of our enemies that we kind of stubbed into the other city. But yeah, so this is it. I think overall I like where we're at. And again, I need to think about and I think it's okay for us to have these like really intimate scenes where they don't really have parallax. They're almost like big billboards, or we apply maybe some minor parallax. The general rule of thumb is that things that are closer to the camera are going to move faster. So we're not quite there with it. But again, you can see how this progresses into the other parts of the city. I don't really mind as much, like a little bit of minor parallax for the background. It sort of feels like the city's crawling in the opposite direction. So I'll see if I can play with that a little bit more in this case. For the most part, we're basically making glorified enemy entrance platforms, right? Amongst other things for like booty call. Like we're telling this little mini story of the city. So, and I like that the panels kind of come together for that. So I think that is the main stuff. I'm going to check the stuff in for you. Overall, like where we're at. We'll see with the hues, and then making sure that I haven't really messed with enemy positions yet, or any of those other aspects. I did do a version of that, I think, for you over here. Yeah, so we can come back and take a look at that. But overall, I think we've got the right size of the windows, which is cool. We've got like what the function is. You know, I guess that the city's just going to be overrun with enemies. I don't, you know, it's shmups are weird in that way sometimes, right? So I think that'll be fine. Let me see. Do I have anything else for my notes? In terms of verticality, I think we can still keep the end caps. I just did the rotation on the end caps here. And at first I was like, well, maybe we want to have like this, but I think just having this entrance line as we've expect that like sort of the entrance and the exit of the end caps, I think is totally fine. I don't think we have to do much more there. I know we get a little bit weird here with where we're sharing or showing the end caps in relationship to the bridges, but I think again it works fine here, right? When we're taking a look. The main thing was having the bridge. The bridge is where we see the end caps behind the end caps, and then you know we can definitely. This is the first time you can see the camera track that I wound up putting in here. So this is just kind of, you know, nothing is perfectly aligned here, but it kind of gives us a sense for how we can use the space a little bit more. I'm feeling pretty good about that overall. And then I wonder, can I do this camera? That. Yeah, that's actually kind of nice. Boink, get rid of that. Yeah, so I think it's good. I like it. I like it a lot. You know, it's a little weird that everything's static, but look, the focus is we're not building movies here. So the focus is that we're I don't know, we're, you know, what am I trying to say? We're putting so much effort, which is great, into the environment. And then we just need to remember that I think the enemies are, of course, the enemies in the play space is king. So feeling pretty good about all of these things we got going on. With that being said, I will get this checked in. And let me double check my notes. Did I have anything else? So down here also, like maybe one of our moving parts is we could have... I think we could have elevators, right? Maybe that's one of our little candy, like extra movement, and we could have enemies come in off the elevators, which would be pretty sweet. So elevator action, which I love that game when I was a kid. So I think that's the other thing there. For moving objects vertically for enemy entrances. We kind of have platforms already that kind of work in that space too. So just a little design element, entrances. Yeah, cool. And I think all I need to do. Yep, all I need to do then is get this video over to you. Good stuff, man. I'm really liking where we're at, and talk to you soon.